Hey, John here. This video, I'm going to step you through the 6 simple SEO tips I follow that gets millions of monthly Google search visitors. I've been doing this for several years now, so I know it works. Quickly, here's site 1, the last 30 days filtered for Google organic traffic. It's 1.3 million visitors. And another site I have is 166,000 visitors. So this works, and these are basically the main steps I take to rank content and get quite a bit of traffic. So the first one is you have to have a cohesive strategy. You need to think about what it is what you want to do. Essentially, SEO is content and links. And are you going to focus on far more competitive but lucrative content and try to make a lot of money from a few articles or a handful of content? Or are you going to focus on high volume content publishing, which is the strategy I take, where you're going to put the lion's share of your time and money into content? You need to think about what it is you want to do, especially when starting out. Now, as your site matures and it gets more traffic and it's earning more, you can certainly take on a hybrid. You can devote a certain amount to content every month, and you can add some high earning money pages to your site, and I'll then devote some of the budget to links. You can certainly do both, and that can be very, very good. I tend not to do that. I still tend to just focus on content because it's worked very well for me. So if you go the links route, focus on good links. If you go the content route, publish good content. Seriously, don't take the shortcuts. In 3 years, you'll be glad you focused on quality. I know I am. It's not that I've been perfect with publishing my sites over the years, but I have always tried to do more on the quality side, and it's paid off. And I'm really happy I have websites with strong foundation. They're going to continue to grow. I'm pretty confident about that. I continue to focus on quality control, and it's really worth doing. It might take a little bit longer to spend more time and money doing it right, but you'll be glad you did that in 3 years. So can you do both strategies, hybrid strategies? Yeah, absolutely. It's just probably going to take a little while until you're going to build up the budget for that. I'm biased. My personal preference is to just go the high content volume, especially in the beginning, and then see how the site's developing. And then if there are opportunities to rank money pages and leverage your site's authority and some of the already inbound links to your site to rank the money pages, then by all means go for it. I still haven't really got around to that in a big way, but it can probably be the best strategy in the long run by having some really, really high earning money pages along with lots of content that's earning nicely from display ads. Tip number 5, going back here down 6 down to number 1, is follow Google's lead. And now what this means is once you have content published and ranking, so if you're just starting out, this doesn't really apply to you, but it will fairly soon. Do more of what's working. Google is pretty much telling you what it likes. So if you go into a somewhat broadish category or niche, that let's say automobiles or gardening, these are broad topics. There's lots of niches within there. Okay. Do a variety of topics and articles when you get started, and then once something is working, Google will rank it, and basically Google's telling you what it likes, and then you want to focus on that. So start a site by scatter publishing a variety of topics, wait, see what works, laser in on that, rinse and repeat. And over time, as you continue to experiment plus focus in on what's working, you'll have more and more what I call outliers or peak performing articles. And those are the topics you want to focus on and go really deep into. Okay. So, it's a great strategy. It's what I've been doing for years, and it continues to work really well. Number 4, publish good content. I know it's trite and it's cliche, but I'm going to put it in there because really, when I look at my best performing content and I know what it is, some of it I've written, some of it's been written by other people, I'm not surprised it also gets the most traffic. It's also the best performing content and earns the most. Everything about it is the best because it is really good. And that's not to say there aren't exceptions. I know SEOs out there can say, I rank this garbage article or spun content and all that. Sure, that's going to happen. And there are articles that do perform really well for me that aren't the best, could use a lot of work, and I'm constantly working on updating older content. There's also content that I thought was outstanding and it didn't really perform well. So it's not 100%. We're not batting 100. It's a numbers game. But I can tell you from experience that generally speaking, my highest earning, highest traffic content is also the best content for the topics. So a good tip with publishing good content is including content that stands a better than average chance of attracting links from other sites. Okay, I mentioned that I tend to focus on just publishing content and attracting links naturally, and it works. And I've attracted literally over 100,000 links from 100,000 different referring domains so far, and so it works. But you want to think about content and publish that type of content that's going to actually attract links. For me, a lot of it are visual aspects that I add to a site, be it charts or tables, custom illustrations, these sort of things. When you add these to articles that work, you don't want to make it look weird, like throw some chart in there that's just random to the topic and doesn't make sense. No, it's all got to fit together. But when you do that, other publishers, yes, and this is the thing, other publishers will link to your site, and they want to link to your site, and there's lots of natural link building going on. What they're not going to do is they're not going to link to your review article. Okay. I mean, yeah, Wirecutter attracts links because they've built themselves up into this product review authority site. Okay. Most sites aren't that. So they're not going to rank. They're not going to link to your reviews. Okay. But they will link to a really interesting, informative article that provides some cool visuals, and they might take those visuals and put them on their site and link to you as a source. Okay. That happens all the time, and that is happening. And so when you're publishing content, especially the informational content, you want to think about what it is that's going to attract links. If you need to go analyze other websites that have a lot of referring domains, and then more specifically, look at the pages that are getting most of those links, take a look at that. There's usually a reason that they're naturally getting links, and that's because the content is link worthy, and that is what you want to focus on, or at least partially focus on. And I'm not saying don't do reviews, don't do money pages, don't do things that don't make money. What I'm saying is if you want to attract links naturally, you need to provide the content that's going to do that. Okay, number 3, moving down the list here, formatting and on-site basics. This is really important, and I'm almost maniacal about this stuff, because here's the thing. Google is a computer. And so I get that you want to write really interesting and engaging content. And, if you write the best article, Google's going to rank it because, well, it should be ranked number 1. That's not how it works. Okay. Yes, you need to write and publish really good content, but you also have to remember Google is a computer. So you got to play by the computer's rules. And that means you got to make sure that your on-site technical aspect is set up properly so that Google actually knows what your content is about and knows that your content is good and worth ranking high up in the SERP. So I say write for people, optimize for Google, and that's a big focus of me. So basically you want to do the important formatting and on-site basics. These are the most important for me, and this is what works. So I try to keep it simple. You can take this stuff and get really, really complicated with it. And there are SEOs out there who spend their entire careers doing really, really in-depth, highly technical stuff. I tend not to. I'm a content publisher, so fortunately, it's pretty basic stuff. Okay. Keyword in the title. That's the post title and in the SEO plugin title. Address the topic right off the bat and make sure that your article is about what the topic is. So you need to, sometimes it's obvious and it's easy to do, but sometimes you need to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's typing in a particular search phrase. What is it that they're looking for? And if you were searching that, what would you want to see? That's what you want to put in the article. Headings. I'm big on headings. Okay. Heading tags in the content. This is just a technical aspect for formatting. Really important in my view. I use the H2s, the H3s, the H4s. I ask writers to do it. And if it's not done properly, I ask that it be done properly. I think heading tags are really important, and incorporating subtopics and wording that make it clear to Google as to what the article is about. Because a heading tag is going to indicate this is a heading. That means it's an important piece of text because it's indicating to the reader what the next section of the article is about. So this is a very simple and easy and free aspect to communicate clearly to Google what your article is about. Be thorough with your content. Really think it through. Now, you don't want to add a bunch of stuff that's not relevant to the article at all. That could be content for a different article, right? But at the same time, whatever topic it is you're covering and that you're writing about, be as thorough as you can. Use some software tools out there. I use a lot of software tools to try to get more ideas, how to add more content that's relevant to the specific topic because I don't always think it all through. So I like Ahrefs, would give me a lot of additional information for particular long tail keywords. AnswerSocrates.com is a free website you can check out. KeywordShitter.com, where that can give you more ideas. And then there's content optimizers. I use MarketMuse, also Surfer SEO is good, ClearScope is good, Topic is good. They're all good. I've used them all, and they're all going to be able to provide additional questions you can include. And I should mention Phrase.io. That is also a good one. And these are all going to add additional questions and topics and words and synonyms and all of that can be included in the article. Now, I'm not saying that using these tools are going to guarantee you number one rankings at all, but I can tell you that by using them, that you're going to get additional ideas to come up with thorough content. So I think they're well worth the money, and I use them for everything. Interlinking on your site. Okay, this just makes sense. I mean, I know for years everyone's touted, well, interlink, look at Wikipedia. It ranks for everything, and it does, and for good reason. But there are a lot of links. I mean, Wikipedia links all over the place all the time. Some articles have literally like hundreds of links to other articles. I'm not saying that this too is a guarantee for number one rankings, not by any stretch, but it sure helps to tell Google what the related articles are on your site if you're doing a series, if you interlink them and then tie them together with a cornerstone or pillar article. That really does help Google, because Google is basically entirely based on links and websites linking to one another, articles within a site linking with one another. So it's an important aspect of a website. And I would say that interlinking is equally important to using proper heading tags, and just not probably as important as a keyword and title. I would say if you're going to do only one of these, make sure your keyword is in the title. That's most important. Now, lastly, I'll mention images. I use a lot of images in a lot of my content. Now, I don't use them gratuitously. I try to make sure that they're going to enhance the article. I also find they have a really nice benefit of making articles longer in terms of pixel, like in terms of scrolling distance, which if you monetize with ads is going to be able to increase your ad revenue for that. But if you're going to use images, be sure to include a brief little alt text right up in the image. You can do that in the WordPress editor. That's just, again, it's another indicator that you're telling Google what your article is about. So if you have an image that's relevant, you're going to specify what that image is about in the alt text. That just tells Google more that your article is about X, Y, Z. Now, in case you're not familiar with heading tags, and this is where I do get maniacal about it, and I do not like it if this format's not done properly. Okay, so your blog post title will be a heading 1. Now, I don't have that indicated here. That most WordPress themes will make that a heading 1. Okay, so then when you come to your first heading, it needs to be a heading 2. All right, and so it just follows logically. And if you're going to have a subheading under section heading 2, it's heading 3, and then heading 4. And I believe it goes all the way up to heading 6. So you can really go deep within a topic. Okay, and then when that's done and you go back to a whole new section, you're starting over, it starts at heading 2 again. So it's a logical flow. And this is really important because this is basically telling Google exactly what your article is about with all these different headings. So heading 4 is subordinate to 3 and 3 is subordinate to 2. And it just makes sense. It's the logical way to structure your article. And I strongly suggest that you structure your articles this way. Number 2, go deep. So I've talked about identifying winning topics on your site and articles that are working. Once you find those, go deep. Okay, cover every aspect of it, even if some articles don't have much potential. Present your site as the authority on the topics you want to go after. Interlink them. Use proper heading tags, and you put this all together. You create this massive series of 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 articles, all going really, really deep. This whole series is going to work really well and pull in a lot of traffic. And that includes going after articles. I go after articles that Ahrefs will report 0 monthly search traffic, but it's still a keyword and it's still a topic. And sometimes I'll even go after topics I can't find any data on any of the search software tools that I use, just because in my mind it's a topic and it needs to be included in the series, and it's an important part of the overall cluster of articles, and that readers might want to read it. So that's how I go about it, and I find that this can really, really work well, because then Google is going to recognize your site as the authority on that topic, and you can end up getting a ton of traffic for that entire topic and series. Number 1, this probably is the number 1 SEO tip for me that's worked really, really well, and that is choose the right keywords. So this is In my view, this is 80% of the way there, okay? Especially when you're getting started, especially when you're publishing at volume. If you're building links, you've got more wiggle room to go out, obviously, after the more competitive stuff. But even then, remember, if you're devoting, let's say, $2,000 a month to link building, and let's say $500 to new content, okay? You're putting a lot of money into ranking a few articles. You want to go after the right keywords that are going to, if they rank, are going to actually pay off, are going to convert into affiliate sales, right? You want to make that. That's an important calculation you need to make. Well, likewise, with a volume content approach, you need to go after keywords that are going to, in the long run, pull in enough traffic to warrant the cost of the content or your time that you put in and all the other expenses that are involved, right? So it takes a little while to figure this out. But the other aspect of the content volume approach is you need to choose articles that you can rank without having to build links. Especially in the beginning, it's harder because your site's new. As your site's aged, it's easier and easier to rank, which is obviously a good reason to invest in the long run here. But it all comes down to the right keywords, getting keywords that are going to have sufficient volume and sufficient traffic without having to build a whole lot of links, unless that is the strategy you use. And I really, really recommend to work hard on keyword research. Pick the right keywords when you're building out your site. And don't worry if you get it wrong. I go after keywords that just didn't work out, is bound to happen. But I would say on the balance, the best thing I've ever done is really work on keyword research and make that work for me. And that's paid off really, really nicely. Another tip to keep in mind is this stuff takes time and it's a lot more effort than you expect. Okay, when I got into this business, I thought it would be super easy. Like conceptually, I understood it. The whole concept is really simple, right? Publish content and it will rank over time, put ads on site and collect checks. Okay, conceptually, it doesn't get simpler than that. It's a very, very simple business. But it is not easy and it takes a lot of time. So please keep this in mind. Don't expect in 3 months that your site's going to get 200,000 visitors per month, because that is very, very likely not going to happen. Okay. High content volume is not messing around. You need hundreds. And if you really want to build up a big authority site, literally thousands of articles. Okay. Same with link building. You need to score good links, lots of them, and resist the urge for shortcuts. Good links are hard to come by, but you get a good handful of really good, powerful, effective links to the right money pages, and that can be a really, really big earning website. So please, understand, have patience. This stuff does take time. So what do? I've already mentioned, 99% of my focus is high content volume. And publishing content with LinkBait. I love LinkBait that does custom illustrations. I hire people to create some custom illustrations that are going to enhance the article. Other websites like them, they put them on their site. They give me a source link. Super easy way to build links. Yes, I've got to pay for the custom illustrations, but it works. And I think the illustrations are really cool. I get requests for people. They want to include them in their university lectures, people in the books that they're writing. And so these are effective and it works. People want to use them. If people want to use them, they're going to ask. Sometimes they won't ask. I don't care as long as they give me the link. So that is my process. These are, to me, the most fundamental SEO tips that have worked really, really well for me. And the good news is you can do this. Okay. Link building is probably, I would suggest that people who do a lot of link building probably find it easy. For me, I'm not all that well versed in it. I don't do it, so I'm not set up for it. I don't have the infrastructure for it. I think people who have done it for years, to them it's second nature. For me, high volume content publishing, second nature. I put all my time into working into efficiencies and workflows and getting the best absolute content I get for a certain price. All right. I'm not spending $1,000 per article. I would have better content, no doubt, if I were, but that would never pay off. I can't spend $1,000 per article. There's economics involved here. And that's a big part of it, is trying to figure out, okay, well, I could spend this much money per article and it's going to spit out this much money in the long run. Okay. Now there are a lot of other variables and factors that go into it. And one thing I would suggest, because I get this email a lot. Okay. I get a lot of people email. It's like, John, okay, so I'm doing keyword research and the Ahrefs is saying it'll get me 50 visitors per month if I rank number one for this keyword. And the article's, let's say, going to cost me $100. There's no way I'm going to get enough traffic to that article to pay off for that $100. It's going to take like 5 years, which seems to me like a really bad ROI. Okay. On the surface, that argument is right. It's a terrible investment, okay? But here are those other variables that aren't being revealed with Ahrefs. First off, you're going to rank for a lot more keywords for the article than that one keyword. Okay, so you're very likely, if you rank number one for that keyword in Ahrefs, you're going to be ranking for a lot of additional keywords in an article. No article ranks for just one keyword. Okay, so there's going to be more traffic likely than just the 50 search visitors per month. That's number one. Second, all of your content that ranks and some of it that attracts links and all of this stuff, what it does is it contributes to growing the authority of your site. And a site that grows in authority is going to rank for more and more keywords. So as you move up the food chain, the website food chain, if you will, as your site grows in authority, it's able to rank for more and more. And so remember, it's not in a year where your published content that you published the year before, it's no longer going to progress and do better. I have content that took 3 years to get to number one. As the site authority grew, I was able to rank for more and more competitive keywords. So the traffic is growing on its own. That's like not even including adding new content to the site. In fact, new content that you add to the site is really just an investment into more traffic a year from now. It's not going to get traffic tomorrow. So that's what you need to think about. All of this content and all of these rankings, all these inbound links that continue to grow for over 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, they're going to contribute to a lot of earnings altogether in the long run. And you want to keep that in mind because that's really, really important in terms of the economics of this business model. Thanks for watching.